Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the TCT podcast here on YouTube. My name is Gavin Campbell. Alongside me, as always, my two good friends, Tyson Snyder and Cale Fleming. Got quite a few things on the rundown for today. First, we're going to start off with some high school Central Illinois football, and then we're going to get into some Illinois football that happens tomorrow, season opener, day one against Kent State. Then we'll finish it up with some NBA, NFL, and MLB talk. Spend a few minutes on that. Tyson, go ahead and take it away, man.
All right, we're getting into the high school football here. Starting off with the Cola Wars, Arcola versus Tuscola. Both these teams won real big last week. Arcola against South Beloit and Tuscola against Villa Grove Heritage. Arcola won 42-0 while they were at home. Tuscola won 57-0 away. In this matchup, both teams won big. This is a dogfight every year. I believe Tuscola's won the last two, and I'm picking Tuscola to win it again. I'm sticking with the trend. I think Tuscola's a better team, better coach, so I'm picking Tuscola.
Everybody I've talked to that I have classes with that's from that area said this is one of the most fun games in the area to go to. But I'm going off of what Tyson said. Tuscola, week one, last week, looked really solid. They put up 57 against Villa Grove Heritage. Yep. They're another state title winner this year, so I'm going Tuscola too.
Yeah, I don't have too much else to add. State champion is a state champion. They look like one in game one, and I'm going to go ahead and take them again here.
Next up, we got BCC Bloomington Central Catholic against Prairie Central. Bloomington Central actually lost last week, 14-35. They were home against Pontiac. Pontiac came out, surprised me a little bit. I wasn't really expecting them to take down Bloomington Central here. We all know PC won real big against Rantoul, 52-28. Prairie Central is at home for their first home game of the season against Bloomington Central, but I'm actually going to take BCC in this one. We played BCC the last couple years in the playoffs. They run a tough team. They got a good coach again. They've always got big physical guys. So I think BCC can come in and kind of take it to Prairie Central at Prairie Central's home and there in Fairbury. I know you guys might not agree with that, but just based on watching them and playing against them, I think BCC's got a good team, and I think they're going to win this one.
I'm taking Bloomington Central Catholic. To me, it's not really much of a contest, even though Prairie Central did beat Rantoul last week, but
everybody beats Rantoul.
Yeah, Rantoul's they've struggled the last 10 or 12 years in their football program, so I'm taking Bloomington Central.
Yeah, I will also take BCC in this game. There's no reason for me to believe that Prairie Central, with their defense that they displayed in that first game against Rantoul, no excuse. Rantoul should not have scored 28 points on your team. I don't care if they were at home. I don't care. Nothing matters. If Rantoul, and that's no disrespect to their program, they're subpar. They're not very good. If Rantoul can score 28 points on you, you're not in good shape. That defense is not going to stand up to Bloomington Central, so I'm taking them.
Well, I thought I was coming in with the shocker pick there. I thought you guys would go with PC after. I mean, they still put up a lot of points, but that was my thinking too. Their defense let up a lot against a not very good team. But next up, we've got some little bit of hometown dogfight going on here. We got Central versus Centennial. Central, we know, was at home. Centennial was away last week. They both lost. Central lost 7-21 against Metamora, who wasn't a very good team last year. 7-33,
right.
My bad.
Yeah, that's okay.
And then Centennial lost 14-48 against Peoria, which Peoria's got a stout team. They've got a real good team. So you can't fault them too much for that. In this matchup, I am going to take Centennial. I'm going to give the advantage to the home team. Gavin pointed out an interesting fact. Every home team last week that we covered lost, which was a little bit interesting. So I'm hoping that trend won't continue, and I'm going with Centennial over Central.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Champaign Central, basically because I feel like Champaign Central is going to outplay Centennial, honestly. I don't know. It's just a battle of the Champaign schools, so it'll be another fun game to highlight this week as well with Tuscola and Arcola.
I feel like Centennial had a way tougher opponent last week.
Agreed.
Playing Peoria. Peoria they're definitely a top 5 team, probably top 3 team within their classification. So with that said, being able to score a couple touchdowns, that's probably looking good for you. Central couldn't even get 2 scores up on Metamora. Metamora's still a good team, just not as good as Peoria, so I'm going to take the Chargers in this one.
Good pick. Next up, we've got Chillicothe, IVC, Illinois Valley Central, up against Monticello. Both teams, once again, won big. IVC surprised me a little bit. Went into Tolono against Unity and won 31-13 or 34-13. Unity usually has a pretty good program. They've had the same coach for a long time. They've got a lot of good kids down there. So IVC surprised me a lot in this one. But we all know Monticello. They won big against Olympia. Bigger school than Unity is. A little bit more talent there. And Monticello went in and stomped them 51-0. So in this matchup, I'm taking Monticello. Last year they went like 12-2 or something like that. Finally lost with 2 rounds left in the playoffs or something. They made a mistake at the end, but they have a good team, and I think they're returning a lot of their starters. So I'm definitely going Monticello on this one.
I'm taking the Sages as well, just basically for the sheer fact that since the 3 of us have been in high school, well, we're all graduated now, but we're in high school until now. Monticello's put together phenomenal football teams, so I'm just going to take Monticello. It just seems like a smarter choice.
Yeah, no other things to add with that. Monticello is just purely more talent on that roster. I'm taking them as well.
All right, our next game is Danville against Urbana.
Danville.
Yep. We all know Urbana got stomped last week. Danville lost a close one against a good Bloomington team, which I underrated. My apologies out there if there's any Bloomington fans. But yeah, I'm definitely taking Danville. That's basically all there is to it.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Urbana.
All right.
I'm going to throw everybody off here. Urbana's going to win one. They're going to beat Danville this week. They're going to beat Danville this week, so let's go Tigers. Don't let me down.
You're giving them their win for the season this early?
I'm going to give them more than one win.
Yeah, I hope that they can win more than one because God knows they need it, how they've played the past couple years. Now, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take the Vikings in this one, mostly because I expect them to put up more than 12 points, and Urbana has made it abundantly clear they can't score more than 6. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take Danville. It's going to be another blowout. If Urbana doesn't lose by 30, it's a good day.
Yeah, next up we got GCMS against Eureka. GCMS went into PBL last week and basically shut them down, 28-0. That's a good win. Against Eureka, who went into Leroy, who usually runs a pretty good team. They got some corn-fed boys over there, that big, strong fellers. But Eureka went into Leroy as the away team and won 19-14 in a close one. I think they might be riding a little bit of high off of that, coming in as the home team this week against GCMS, but GCMS is a state champion. They won this past year. They're returning a lot of guys. Same coach. GCMS has got everything rolling for them right now, and I'm rolling with them.
Mike Allen, whatever he's doing over there is working. They lost their star running back in Mitch McNutt, but other than that, it's still the same core. I'm going to take GCMS on the road.
Yeah, I'm also going to take GCMS. That rooted PBL last week. No reason I should think that they should lose at home to Eureka. Close game, Eureka won, but GCMS is a whole other animal. I'm taking them in this one.
Our next game, speaking of GCMS against PBL, our next game up is PBL against Georgetown Ridge Farm. We all know PBL obliterated last week. Georgetown Ridge Farm actually went up to Clifton Central and put a whooping on them, 20-6. That's hard to do. Clifton Central is a team that PBL has notoriously struggled against, including back in my days, and I'm ashamed to admit that, but Clifton is a team we struggle against. That being said, I really hope I'm wrong, but I'm taking Georgetown in this one.
As it being our alma mater, Tyson, I kind of hope we're both wrong, but if Georgetown's going to go in there and beat Clifton Central that hard, then I'm going to go ahead and take Georgetown.
And Georgetown's at home this week.
Yeah.
Just another little booster.
Yeah, I hope PBL is able to grab a couple games this season, but this is not one of them. I'm also going to take Georgetown in this game.
Now, on that note, PBL started slow last year, 0-3 to start the season, ended up 6-3 making the playoffs, or 5-4, and 6-3.
6-3.
So I have a feeling it's going to be another slow start to the season, get a couple of these tough games out of the way, and then hopefully we can make a burst again.
Yeah, it's just kind of disappointing that they have a tougher first half of the schedule than some other teams, especially in their own conference.
Makes it hard to come back, but we got some mentally tough boys up there. They'll get it done.
For sure.
But next up, we got Rantoul against St. Joe. That basically is how it is. I'm sure we can all agree St. Joe's probably going to win this one. Rantoul, a little bit bigger school, bigger boys, but St. Joe went into STM, gave them a whooping. Rantoul lost to PC. I'm definitely taking St. Joe.
I'm taking St. Joe as well. I mean, St. Thomas More is a good school, or has a good football program, just like they do. But St. Joe, another state title contender, so it's kind of hard to argue against St. Joe.
Yeah, the new coaching staff they brought in at St. Thomas More has really turned it around, I think. St. Joe's just a really good football program, and they have been for, the past couple decades. So no reason for me to think that that's not going to continue. I'm going to take St. Joe in this one.
All right, we're coming up on our last couple games, but our next one up is Villa Grove against ALAH, Arthur Lovington, Atwood Hammond. ALAH lost last week as an away team 7-16 against Kansas Shiloh. There's another school in there, but I forget. Shiloh's down there by St. Louis, a little bit bigger school. They lost a close one, 7-16. Villa Grove got stomped at home. They're away this week. I'm taking Allah in this one.
You're taking Arthur Lovington?
Yeah.
I'm taking Villa Grove. Just basically for the sheer fact that Villa Grove had to play a really tough team last week with a very superior defense. So Villa Grove's put together some decent teams as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Villa Grove.
I'm going to second that. I'm also going to take the Devils in this one. Tyson, I'm sorry you're a loner.
Okay.
But
I understand.
Heritage and Villa Grove have historically been two completely different schools. But now they're two sides of the same coin. I feel like Villa Grove, like Cale says, has been able to produce some very talented athletes. Atwood Hammond, I honestly just don't know too much about them. I do know a couple guys at Villa Grove Heritage, so I'm just going to go ahead on a limb and take them in this one.
And our last game of the week is going to be Watsika against Salt Fork. We all know that I went wrong last week. Gavin was the only one got the Watsika pick. Watsika taking down Oakwood. Salt Fork took down Oblong over last weekend, 26-0. Salt Fork usually runs a pretty tough program. They make the playoffs almost every year. I'm taking Salt Fork in this one. No disrespect to Watsika again. I have a hard time picking you guys. Didn't ever really get along, but I'm taking Salt Fork.
Oakwood last week, they gave Watsika a run for their money. Oakwood's a decent team. First week, so like you said, Tyson, I'm not really sure how Watsika is going to be yet in week 2. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Salt Fork just off the premise that they put together solid football teams like the rest of these small schools around here.
Yeah, for sure. Watsika, I don't want to say surprised a lot of people because I think there were a lot of people that thought that they could go into Oakwood and beat this team. Oakwood has been, like Cale said, a decent program. I would say even a fairly good program over the past few years. Watsika marched in there and took them down 20-14. I think this is going to be a surprising team for the rest of the season for a lot of people. And I'm going to go ahead and take them as my Cinderella team in week 2, and they're going to come out with a W.
For sure.
All right.
Alrighty, so let me run through these picks.
For sure.
Real fast. So the first game, Tuscola, Arcola, all three of us took Tuscola. Game 2, we all took Bloomington Central Catholic. Gavin, the game 3, they took Centennial. Gavin Tyson did. I took Central. There's my underdog for the week, besides Urbana. We all took Monticello. You guys obviously took Danville. I took Urbana. All three of us took GCMS. All three of us took Georgetown Rich Farm, as well as SJO. Me and Gavin took Villa Grove, as opposed to Tyson picking Arthur Lovington, Atwood Hammond, and then Salt Fork. So there we go.
Well, you already know I got the Watsika pick, and that'll probably be my pick for the rest of the season. So we'll see how that goes.
Ride that pick all the way.
Absolutely. Hey, that's a good segue. Talking about football, let's step it up a notch. Let's move into some college football, specifically the Big Ten. More specifically, we need to talk about our own Champaign-Urbana, Illinois Fighting Illini. Their game 1 is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time against Kent State. Cale, go ahead and give me your opening thoughts here on how do you expect the Illini to come out in this game 1? Guys to watch out for. Just your overall opinion on opener.
Guys to watch out for there's going to be 2. Obviously, we're going to talk about it in a second. Be our quarterback. Gavin and Tyson are riding real high on him. He's a big throwing, hard throwing lefty. He can spin it. Go A.J. Bush Jr. Obviously is who it is. If you haven't read the News Gazette or followed anybody here in town, then that's who it is. A.J. Bush Jr. He's a solid QB. He's a lefty. I like watching lefties throw the football, Tyson. It's kind of entertaining. It's a little different, a little quirky.
It looks weird, but it only looks weird because they're left-handed. You don't see it very often.
Right. But no, player number 2 for this week is going to be Mikey Dudek. Coming off of a torn knee, riding high off in the last season. He's keeping morale high in that locker room. This group of seniors, especially, has had a lot of adversity they've had to overcome with, 3 coaching changes, essentially, an AD change. So
for some, 4 different defensive coordinators.
Yeah, absolutely. So that being said, these seniors, I hope they have a good year. But going against Kent State, 2 players that I feel like you need to watch out for will be A.J. Bush Jr., see whether he's going to throw the ball a lot, see whether he's going to run the ball a lot, because he can do both. I'll get your guys' takes on that in a second. But I'm really excited to see what Mikey Dudek out of Chicago is going to do this year. That's my guy. He has been all year. But they did name the captains real quick. I'm going to buzz through them. So Nick Algretti, he's a senior offensive lineman. He's going to be your captain for the offense this season. Delshawn Phillips, linebacker, also another senior. So 2 seniors already. Good. That's honestly who our captain should be for this season. But Delshawn's going to be the captain of the defense. And then you got DeLay Harding. He's another senior linebacker. But he's going to be the captain for the special teams. Obviously, because that dude hits like a truck. So he's a hard hitter, just like Phillips. Illinois obviously can put together some great linebackers. Linebacker U, but it's going to be fun. I'm going to obviously say that we're going to win against Kent State. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Really, my one comparison for A.J. Bush Jr., he looks like a less talented Cam Newton, and that's no disrespect. Cam Newton was a NCAA division title winner. He was a first-round draft pick. He is a Super Bowl contender almost every year.
League MVP.
MVP, runs. He can hit anybody like a truck. He can throw the ball. He can do it all. Cam Newton is a phenomenal player, and A.J. Bush is my comparison, or Cam Newton's my comparison for A.J. Bush. They look similar. They play similar. They've got very similar size. A.J. Bush can do it all, just not as good as Cam Newton, and that's no disrespect. So I'm very excited for this. I think A.J. Bush can help pull this team together, maybe get us a couple wins I wasn't expecting. But I'm excited for it.
For sure. Let me just give some context here to A.J. Bush. When I was looking at his highlight tapes, there wasn't a lot of him at Nebraska. Well, there's a good reason for that. He never started a single game for the Cornhuskers. So that was a red flag to me, but at the same time, it was his freshman season. So you're not going to get a lot of playing time. Obviously, upperclassmen are going to play ahead of you. Then when he transferred over to Virginia Tech in 2017 for his junior year, he appeared in 5 games, 2 of which he played more than 1 quarter. And one of those games that I want to point out is the game against Eastern Carolina. He had 5 rushes for 66 yards. He was only in for 2 series, but 66 yards on 5 rushes. You're looking at more than 10 yards a carry.
That's 12.
Yeah, that's very impressive. It's very impressive. And not to mention, Tyson alluded to it. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's a lefty, and he's got a cannon. This is a guy, I don't know if I would say so much compares to Cam Newton. I think Cam has done more to prove himself. I would like to take it one step back, and I would compare him to Juice Williams back in 2008 when he had that phenomenal season. A year prior to that, went into Columbus, Ohio, and took out the number 1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes.
Dethroned them.
So I think A.J. Bush is able to maybe not claim that status, but definitely get an upset and maybe over one of these ranked teams that we're going to play this season, especially within the Big Ten. Don't be surprised if he's able to steal one from someone, because this Illinois team is going to be underrated. Not a lot of people are expecting the stuff from this team. But one question I had going into the season was, since he's never led a team, does he have what it takes to lead a team? And second off, does he have what it takes to lead a team in the Big Ten Conference?
That's what Mikey Dudek's for. If A.J. Bush doesn't have it, Mikey Dudek is there. He's your leader. He's been through all the adversities, like I said, through that torn knee, through the coaching changes, through absolutely everything you can think of. If A.J. Bush isn't going to step up and lead, which honestly that's what your quarterback does, he steps up and leads. Mm-hmm. But if he can't do it, Mikey Dudek is going to. So a leadership role for this season I'm not that concerned about, because we have Mikey. But I feel like at the same time, though, going off your question originally, A.J. Bush will be able to lead this team. This is his team. He's starting week 1. And depending on how he does against Kent State, which honestly, Kent State's still a Division I team, so we can't really say that it's going to go well or it's going to go bad. I'm just hoping for a win. We're going to see how this game goes. Honestly, they're probably going to win, more than likely. But depending on how A.J. Bush has, game 1 is going to set the tone for the season. Now, going off of that, though, Gavin, last night, all 3 of us, we got to watch a little bit of the Northwestern-Purdue game. Can we beat those 2 teams in particular? No. Because if Northwestern plays like they did the entire game, we don't have a chance. If Purdue plays like they did the entire second half the rest of this season, we're going to struggle against those two teams in particular. And we still have Michigan in the top 25, Michigan State in the top 25, and Ohio State in the top 5.
And Purdue was supposed to be a team that we stood a pretty good chance against.
Right.
They haven't put together a very good team the last few years.
Let's not forget about Penn State. That's also ranked.
They're
we
in
have
the
to
top,
do
top
10.
5.
Yeah, top 10. They're what are they, 3 or 4? Because Ohio State's 3. I think they're 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think they're 5.
Okay, so just think about it. I mean, honestly, this season is gonna be a test.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you mentioned watching that Northwestern Purdue game last night. There's another team we got to worry about in our own division, and that's Minnesota.
Yeah.
We saw them dismantle New Mexico State last night. That incredible kick return by, I can't even remember the kid's name, but he was phenomenal.
Bounced off everybody, the coach, the fans, someone's mother.
Ended up in the end zone.
Uh-huh.
It was truly incredible. I think Minnesota ended up winning by like 30-something points. So that's also another problem because we play them this season.
Yep.
And Minnesota, another team we were supposed to be able to put the whoop down on, hopefully steal a win from someone. But if they play like they did last night against a decent New Mexico State team, it's worrisome.
It's going to be questionable this season.
Absolutely.
But yeah, honestly though, I'm not going to sit here and question AJ Bush's leadership role because I've never seen it. I've never personally witnessed his leadership role. After Saturday, I'll be able to tell you. Now, I'm not going to get to personally watch the game, but I will be listening to it. Speaking of which, I want to give a shout out to our recurring guest real quick, Jake Stevenson. They have their first game this weekend. Go Bearcats!
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, going off of that. Illini football I feel like they're still going to beat Kent State. So.
Oh yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take the W in that one. Let's go ahead and segue into this, though. We need to talk about the NBA for a quick second. We had an NBA legend, and yeah, I'm going to call him a legend. He retired last week. Manu Ginobili of the San Antonio Spurs spent 20 years in the NBA, spent all 20 years with San Antonio, Coach Popovich, won 4 NBA championships along with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and those guys. This is very interesting. I don't want to say everyone saw this coming, but it was definitely up in the air. Manu finally sat down with his family and said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm ready to be a family man. I've been doing this too long. I've got my championships. I've got my respect. I've got my Olympic gold medal
Hall of Fame status.
with Argentina.
He's old.
Absolutely, 41 years old.
Hall of
41 years
Famer.
old. Yeah. This is the one question coming out of this though: is how is Pop going to handle this? Everyone from that Spurs big three is now gone. Duncan's retired. Tony Parker's now playing for the Charlotte Hornets, and Manu Ginobili's retired. So Pop is going to have to balance out DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge. He's going to have to make sure DeJounte Murray is ready to fill in that starting point guard role. And then what does he do with the bench now? We've got, obviously Patty Mills, who's been on that squad for a while. He's already cut guys like Brandon Paul. He did acquire Jakob Poeltl from the Raptors to fill in the backup big man position. He still has Pau Gasol, but he's 37. And, of course, Lonnie Walker.
They've got big hopes for Lonnie Walker down there.
Yeah, and let's hope that Pop was right on this call. Let's hope R.C. Buford was right on drafting this kid out of Miami. I love his intensity. I love his skill set, but if he lets his emotions get the best of him in the NBA, he's going to be in for a rude awakening. Now, let me segue into one more retirement here. David West of the Golden State Warriors. He also announced his retirement, with Paul George giving him a shout-out on Instagram back in his days when he was with the Indiana Pacers. Cale, I'm sure you remember those. Making it to the conference finals a couple times. Those battles with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and the Miami Heat. He was a big influence on Paul, and I love to see players showing other players respect, especially the veterans. With Paul now being a veteran himself in OKC with Westbrook. David West, he's truly one of the savviest players I think that the NBA's ever had. I loved him with Chris Paul in New Orleans and J.R. Smith and Emeka Okafor and all those guys. Those teams were really fun to watch. Fun fact for you, he's still the all-time leading scorer for the New Orleans franchise.
Yep.
If you didn't know that. So, yeah, great guy. Really humble. Just sad to see him win his rings with Golden State, but once a champion, always a champion. Can't take that away from him, and I couldn't be happier for him. The NBA will definitely miss him. One last point under the NBA news, we have a trade, surprisingly enough, to announce. The Houston Rockets were finally able to trade off Ryan Anderson's contract to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for Brandon Knight and Marquise Chris. Now, I think the Rockets, first of all, A+ for getting rid of Ryan Anderson's contract. Yeah. Great job. Second thing, for the Phoenix Suns, you got rid of Brandon Knight. Congratulations. I think this is a win-win for both teams. Mm-hmm. Ryan Anderson only has a couple years left on his contract, then they can dump it. And then Marquise Chris. This is the biggest question mark for me. How is Houston going to utilize him with still having Nene on the roster? Is he going to get more minutes over him? He's still an unpolished product playing in Phoenix. I don't think that the spotlight was on him whatsoever. So what is he going to do now that he's playing for a contender. You have to step up. And I'm sure Chris Paul, Clint Capella, James Harden, those guys will get him in the groove of things. Another question I have, Brandon Knight, how's he going to fit in with this system? He hasn't been the same since he played for Milwaukee back, I think it was 4 years ago. So this will definitely be interesting for him. Ryan Anderson, shoot all the threes you want in Phoenix. That's pretty much their game plan now with Kukoskov running things now. Devin Booker, Trevor Ariza, and those guys. But yeah, that's all that I have for the NBA. It's going to be kind of slow until October rolls around. We got the preseason starting towards the end of September, but until then, go ahead.
I want to talk about something real quick, so we still got a couple minutes here.
Sure.
With Mondo retiring, that is the last piece that Popovich has with the big three, like you said, the original big three that I think about. I don't see how Pop's going to manage all of this because Tim Duncan, honestly, when Tim Duncan retired, you started seeing things fall apart. So Tim Duncan was the centerpiece. He was the guy. He was the car salesman in the locker room saying, "Okay, young bucks, this is what you need to do. You need to sit in here and buy what he's selling. Is what you got to do." Tim Duncan was the glue that held that locker room together. Well, he was gone, so we started seeing some issues with Popovich and his team. And you could see that in the media as well. And then Kawhi Leonard's situation is a whole other story. Then he loses Tony Parker to Charlotte. So now he's lost another key piece that he uses for the glue. And now Mano retires. So Manu's gone. He's got no glue left. Gavin, how is this going to fare for Pop when this system, he's cranky, he's old. I can't stand the guy, honestly. But how is this going to fare with his system? He likes to run things with losing those key three players he's had basically since he's been in San Antonio.
I think this is a great chance for him to retool what he's been building in San Antonio with those three guys leaving, mostly because DeMar DeRozan, he still feels betrayed from Masai Ujiri. He was very close with the general manager. He said, "You will not be traded." A few days later, what does he do? Goes and trades him, sends him miles and miles and miles down south into Texas. So I think that he's looking for trust, and I think Pop is going to be looking for someone to instill what he did in Tim Duncan. I think he still has LaMarcus Aldridge, who is Tim Duncan-esque. Obviously, he's not a legend like Tim Duncan was. But I think with those two guys, if you can get them to buy in, they should be able to get a hold of the locker room. These are guys that have been multi-time All-Stars, All-NBA caliber players in their career. So if you can get them to buy in, I think that you can get the Young Bucks in line. If not, like you said, it's going to be a very, very interesting and intriguing situation down south.
I'm on that same boat. I don't think this is the rest of the glue that was holding it together. I think this is the last string that was holding them on to the past. Not that I'm happy to see Manu retire and go, but I think this is the last thing kind of holding, not necessarily holding them back, but holding them where they were. They've still got LaMarcus Aldridge. They've still got Pau Gasol. They've still got DeMar
DeRozan.
Yeah, DeMar DeRozan.
Nice.
Brain fart. They've drafted Lonnie Walker, who we know has amazing potential. They've got Patty Mills. They've got Pirtle that they got from the Raptors. They've got a bunch of pieces. I think this is a chance that they finally have to pull everything together now and rebuild. They've done the rebuild while they still had a good team, and now they've got a new team. I think this is not a good thing for the Spurs, but I don't think it hurts them. I think it gives them a chance to use what they've got better, without having to sit people and give people minutes and do this and that. I'm actually really excited for this. I still think they've got a playoff caliber team. I think he can transform what they've got behind DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, real quick, let me say this. To anyone that says that the Spurs are not a playoff team this upcoming year,
You're wrong.
Get the hell out. Like, you're out of your mind. If you think that Popovich can't take this group, he's taken less talent to the playoffs before. Look at last year when Kawhi Leonard got hurt. Still ended up with the 7th seed.
Well, we still had Danny Green balling out, too.
That's true, but now that you've added DeMar DeRozan in his place...
Do you need Danny Green?
Do you?
Not anymore.
No.
Not
Not
now.
anymore.
And you've drafted Lonnie Walker. You've had, like Tyson was saying, you have these guys. If you don't think the Spurs can make the playoffs in the West, even with LeBron and the Lakers taking one of those spots, you're out of your mind.
Yep.
All right, well, with that said, let's go ahead and move on here, Cale. I know that we have some NFL to talk about. Tyson, if you want to go ahead and lead us into that.
Tyson. There's some things we got to talk about. Go ahead.
I hate Odell Beckham.
There it is.
There it
I knew
is.
it was coming.
There it is.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham Jr. just signed a contract extension for 5 years and $90 million, something like that.
Nuts.
I still stand to my statement that Odell Beckham Jr. has made one catch in his career. That's it. And everyone thinks he's a god. He is the second coming of Jesus Christ. He is LeBron in pads. He is... Shut up. Odell sucks. instead of going out and getting a quarterback and paying a quarterback a bunch of money, you want to pay this washed up, overdramatic girl to go out there and try and catch a ball where he's going to get 23 yards a game and then go down with the fourth game of the season because he broke his leg again. Hopefully that happens.
Yikes.
Jeez.
You're going to tell me this dude is going to earn that much money? Julio Jones isn't going to get paid like that? Antonio Brown's not getting paid like that? Dez Bryant's not getting paid like that? There's so many other receivers in this league that have proven themselves over longer periods of time. I don't want to hear it. Dez Bryant has the most touchdowns by a receiver in the last since he got drafted.
Who was his quarterback before Dak Prescott?
Tony Romo.
Yeah, one of the greats, okay?
What?
No.
Fourth highest QB rating in a career all time. Don't tell me he's not one of the greats.
I get that. Quarterback rating.
Hall of Famer.
No.
Hall of Famer.
That's where I'm going to disagree with you.
Hall of Famer. Tony Romo's a Hall of Famer.
Never won a playoff game.
Didn't need to.
Didn't need to. That's what makes you a Hall of Famer.
He's that good.
Rodgers, Super Bowl champion. Brady, Super Bowl champion. 4-time Super Bowl champion.
I'm not going to say Romo's not a Hall of Famer, but I'm not going to say he's a great.
He is.
I'm going to go out and say
I think he's got the statistics to make it to the Hall of Fame. Not on a first ballot.
No.
Not even on a second or third, maybe. But I think he will make it. I think
he will,
got
yeah.
Hall of Fame stats.
He will.
But I don't think he is a great.
A Cowboy great? Why not?
Cowboy great, maybe. I think he's a good quarterback. He's definitely above average. He's in the good category. I wouldn't say great, though. But OBJ's had Eli Manning throwing to him. The only quarterback to beat Tom Brady twice until last year. Or to beat Tom Brady at all.
Yeah.
So OBJ's had Eli throwing to him. Now we know Eli has declined severely. But I still don't think OBJ deserves to get paid like this, especially being hurt, having issues off the field, making one catch in his career. Guys like Julio Jones, Antonio Brown deserves to be paid so much more than this guy does. I don't understand it. They're wasting all their money. They're wasting their cap space on an. I'm done.
You're so mad. You're flustering yourself. That's awesome.
But I'm not going to disagree with anything you said, other than I do think that Tony Romo is a great. I don't care.
Antonio Brown. We're just going
to drop that.
Antonio Brown, though. Honestly, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, those guys deserve a $95 million contract.
Yep.
Because those guys will go out and they'll give you 300 yards a game, and they won't get in trouble off of the field. They won't draw the media to themselves, other than they won't get paid, obviously. Well,
and Antonio Brown's hair.
Right.
He's going to cut it like a Tetris block again.
But anyway, still, honestly, Antonio Brown, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the league.
Yep.
Then it's Julio Jones.
I have that flip-flop, but I have a bias.
Okay, well, fair enough. So
yeah.
I think you could even throw A.J. Green up there.
A.J. Green?
I would even put Jarvis Landry.
Alshon Jeffrey? I can name 3 or 4 guys, 5 or 6 guys that are better than
OBJ. is not in my top 5 best receivers.
No.
I'll even take the old Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders still.
I don't know if I could take Emmanuel Sanders, though, because he's more of a slot.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see why you would. I mean, if you want to bring Santonio Holmes out of retirement, I'll take him over OBJ.
There's so many guys still in this league, though, that deserve to be paid.
Larry Fitzgerald is better. How did I forget him? Jeez.
Larry, legend, man.
I'm going to take Stephon Diggs, too, over OBJ.
Yes, I would.
In a fantasy league, I'll take Stephon Diggs. Like, honestly. I mean, does he
I might not have OBJ in my top 10. If I sat down and thought about it, I might not.
Yeah. If I wrote down every wide receiver and you look at it, OBJ's not going to make my top 10. Your top 10. Would he even make ESPN's top 10 other than that one catch? He's talking about he puts himself.
He'd be number 2 on ESPN's top 10.
Of course.
Salary-wise. So, I don't know.
One thing I can't understand before we move on here to the next thing is how are the Giants going to pay this man this much money when a month ago they were talking about cutting him from the team?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was in trade rumors forever. And then they were like, yeah, let's go ahead and hand him $100 million. Are you kidding me? I mean, I sit here and scratch my head at it. Now, if he can play a full season, if he can put down the illegal activities that he partakes in, if he can cut the drama, if he can cut his hair, if he could just keep his business on the football field, exactly, and stay healthy for an entire season, I might change my mind. I might change my opinion on him. But until then, the past 3 years, he's shown me he's nothing more than, like Tyson said, he's a goon, and that's all there is to it. He's an attention. Oh, I can't say that on air, but he wants attention. That's what he is. That's it.
He wants to be in the spotlight.
Yeah,
that's just easy.
Without living up to expectations.
He fought a kicking net and
lost. That's all we got. So let's just move on. I can't talk about this guy anymore.
Next up, we got Aaron Rodgers going out and getting that paycheck.
This I agree with.
This I agree with completely.
Go ahead.
My one thought is I wish they would have stretched it out over a couple more years so it didn't hurt their cap space so bad. Because now Aaron Rodgers is making something like 25% of the team's salary, which is absolutely deserving. One of the best quarterbacks of our generation.
I looked it up. It's 22.3% of the salary. It's Aaron Rodgers is now. Sole ownership of 23% of the salary cap.
And he absolutely deserved to go out and get paid. He's been severely underpaid the last several years now. But, like I said, I wish they would have stretched it out. My only problem is they didn't stretch it out, so now they can't go pay anybody to protect him or for him to throw to or to get someone to run behind him or to pay a defense because he's taken up so much room. So good that Aaron Rodgers got paid. Great. He's a great quarterback. But I think this is going to do nothing but hurt Green Bay.
He's not going to be around for 5 years to collect that check because they don't have any linemen protecting him, like you said. So, I mean, listen, for Aaron Rodgers, this is great. You are, to me, Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback in the league. I understand that is arguable. He can't stay healthy. Whatever. There's other people that agree with me. I can back that one up. I can
agree with you.
I can back that
argue
one up.
a different day.
I know you will.
Number 1 and 2.
Touchdown, Tommy.
Tom Brady, Rodgers. You can flip them.
Yeah, you can. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, agreed. 1-2.
All right.
Tommy.
Go
first.
get paid. Go get paid. I have no problem with that. Now, what I do have a problem with is that, like you said, it's just taking up so much that you can't. He's not going to win another Super Bowl. Hell, he might not even make it back to the conference championship game with the roster that he has right now.
He might not make it to the end of the season.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
He don't care. He's getting paid either way.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. But here's the thing: if he wants to cement himself in NFL history as one of the greats, Tony, you have to have 2 Super Bowls. That's what separates you from the anomalies. If you have 2, you are cemented as a great NFL quarterback. If you have 1, you got lucky. If you have 2, lightning don't strike twice. Unless you're Eli Manning. But, I mean, it's no shots at Eli. I love Eli to death.
I
but
hate Eli, so
I'll
take that.
I'll take his brother or his dad any day.
Well,
I'll
I don't
take his
know.
little brother.
Archie's he was pretty bad. I mean,
Archie Manning?
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Well, I guess I'm thinking Ole Miss Archie. All right.
Oh, fair enough. I was about to say, he played for the Aints. There was no S in that team's name. Yep. So, anyway, with that said, I don't know. Good for Aaron. Go get your money, but you're not winning anything anytime soon.
Good
don't
thing
expect
for the Bears, though.
No, it's great for the Bears. I can't wait. I can't wait to play Green Bay.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait.
Well, we got him week 1, so
I don't want to play him then. I want to play him after. I want to play him later.
After he's been beat up a little
Yeah, a little bit.
Can we talk about that real quick? That Bears game?
Yeah, sure.
Did you guys get to see it at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So here's the thing. The whole game, the Bears were up 28-0.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half happened. And then the second half, we just fell apart. I don't know what happened. I understand, Gavin. I understand. I'm a Bears fan as well, but I'm going to knock on him a little bit because of what we've seen the last 4 years. So, what the hell? We're going to win 28-0 against A.J. McCarron and the Buffalo Bills, and then we're going to just throw it all away in the second half? It was the same crew. Our backup QB, Brody. I can't remember his last name. I think it's Brady.
No, you're right, Brady.
Yeah, it's something like that. I can't remember his exact name. He was slinging the ball. He was running the ball. He looked good. So we got a backup QB if, God forbid, Mitchell Trubisky goes down, which we don't want that to happen.
Don't even say that.
But
man.
if he goes down, at least I have a QB that I'm confident in. But anyway,
I'm not.
Watch him. Just watch him. He's actually he's halfway decent. But anyway, after watching that game last night, we were up 28-0 going into the second half, and it's like halftime it was a different team with the same crew. This is what we've seen for the last 3 or 4 years, Gavin. I don't understand it. I'm really confused. It's preseason. I get it. It's preseason. We don't have Tariq Cohen out there on the field yet.
Right.
And rightfully so, because we don't want him to get hurt, because he's the only thing we got, essentially, in the backfield.
Well, after Jordan Howard, let's not forget him. He did rush for over 1,000 yards his first 2 years. So
I'm still a Tariq Cohen fan.
Oh, no, I am too. I love him.
He's a little ball of fun.
Yes, he is.
Now, let me say this. First of all, it's the Chicago Bears, and it's a quarterback. That's why you can't question it. This team's never had a great quarterback. Jim McMahon is probably the best quarterback we've ever had.
He was average.
And he was a goon.
Don't you disrespect Sexy Rexy.
I love – oh, my God. You really want to talk about Grossman right now? If I could have quarterbacked that Super Bowl team and we would have won. Rex Grossman is a joke. I'm not.
Whoa.
Rex. Okay.
Bears fan.
What did he do in Chicago? What did he do in Washington? What did he do anywhere else he went? Trash. All right, that's all I'm going to say about Rex.
I'm not a Rex Grossman fan. I just like calling him Sexy Rexy.
No, I can't.
I was just trying to get your thoughts on the game last night.
Greasy should have started that game. It would have been better.
All right, never mind.
But anyway, okay, no.
One greasy boy, please.
Let me say this: his backup quarterback, and he's playing against second and third stringers. That's why he looks so good. It's the Buffalo Bills, second and third stringers. That's why he looks so good.
Whoa! The Buffalo Bills were a playoff contender last year. They were good last year
because of Tyrod Taylor. He's gone.
Well, you don't think Josh Allen's going to carry him?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I think
DraftJoshAllen.com.
I think Josh Allen's better than Tyrod.
Absolutely not.
Ooh.
I think he is.
Absolutely
He's
not.
got a better arm, and I think he can run the
That's
ball
it.
better.
Better arm, better body.
Whoa.
For real.
You
I'm
think?
with
Oh,
that.
no. Please stop talking for a second so I can grasp my sanity. You said Josh Allen, a guy that's like 6'6" and 250 pounds, is better than Tyrod Taylor, who's like 6 foot 190.
That's why he's going to be able to run the ball better. He's bigger and he's heavier. He's going to be hard to drag down.
Like Ben Roethlisberger.
My God.
You ever seen Ben Roethlisberger run the ball? Hard to tackle him. Big dude.
Hard to tackle him. He never runs because he runs like a 6.8
That's 'cause
40.
he doesn't have to run because he's got Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster to throw to.
I just want anyone that's
And
listening,
Le'Veon Bell to run it for him.
Please remember that Cale said Josh Allen will run the ball better at the quarterback position than Tyrod Taylor. Just please remember that.
Put it on my name.
If anything, I don't even know what else to say. I really don't. Let's just move on.
Moving on. Teddy Bridgewater was traded to the Saints. The Jets got rid of the contract that they didn't really pay him for in the first place. And
I feel bad for this guy.
why didn't Jacksonville try to go get him?
Because they love Bortles.
I don't know what it is about the water down there, but Blake Bortles pissed in, and everybody loves it. They can't get enough of him. They can't get rid of him. They don't want to get rid of him, even though he's been par or subpar, unless you ask Cale, and then he's the greatest thing to ever walk through Jacksonville.
Better than Romo.
I ain't even going to comment.
But
I know
I don't know why Jacksonville
didn't.
didn't, besides that they love Bortles.
Bortles.
But
Blake Bortles.
Bridgewater to the Saints. The Saints went and got their quarterback of the future. This is great. Teddy Bridgewater is a phenomenal quarterback, been plagued by injuries. I think he's the same as Sam Bradford, almost.
Another guy.
I think his potential is better than Sam Bradford.
Yeah. Bradford, we know, is a pocket passer, can move to throw the ball if he needs to. Good vision, good arm. Bridgewater's got all that, and he can move.
He can move, but I wouldn't say that he's an A-plus athlete.
No. But the Saints went and got their quarterback of the future. It'll do nothing but good for this guy to sit behind Breeze for a couple years.
That's
relax,
number 3.
heal his body, and watch one of the best we have in the game right now.
And it's also great that he came out and said that he has no problem backing up Drew Brees.
Yeah,
Who
absolutely.
would?
Well, there's some
would?
people that have an ego big enough to say, no, I need to start now.
I see Baker having that issue.
I don't see him having that issue whatsoever. I think him and Tyrod Taylor are pretty close.
They got it figured out.
I think they do.
So at least they got
If you watch any of Baker's interviews, he's one of the most humble guys on that team. if
Amen
you
to
watch
that.
him.
Yeah, I would second that.
You can't. Okay, here's the thing: is I will say this: is that you can't knock a guy for being hungry and wanting to start. I will say that there's a
Agreed.
difference.
No, because Tyson knows this more than anyone because he pays attention to Baker Mayfield more than I do. He's been a guy that's had to,
right?
yeah, he's had to prove himself every single team he's been on since high school.
This is a familiar feeling for him. He knows exactly what this is.
So if he has to wait it out, he will.
He's incredibly humble. He said that in all his interviews. He goes, "Do I want to start? Yes, absolutely. I would kill to start right now. But I understand it's not my time. I'm more than willing to wait. Tyrod's a great quarterback. I can learn all kinds of things from him. So I will happily wait until it's my turn. And when it's my turn, you're going to know it. I'll go out and prove it."
I just get this stigma in my head that Baker Mayfield is going to have an issue with that. I don't know why.
You've been watching too much Colin Cowherd.
I don't know if it's necessarily that or Hard Knocks. I just get
too.
the feeling from Hard Knocks too that I just have. I don't know why I can't get it out of my head. I feel like he might have a little bit of an issue with that. I mean, am I nuts for saying that?
No, he's a number 1 draft pick. Everyone expects a number 1 pick to start. I'm sure he's hearing a lot of that. It's hard for him to say, "Hey, I am the number 1 pick." and I'm still not going to start. It's probably hard on him. I get that. He might have a little bit of an issue with it, but from what I've seen, I think he's handling it well.
And this goes back to Jared Goff from a couple years ago when the Rams took him first overall. He had to set out an entire year.
Yep.
And when he came in, he sucked.
Sat an entire year behind a bad quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is when he came in his first few games, he sucked, and then he turned it around. He just needed to get a taste of that NFL action. That's all it is.
They're going to be so good.
Oh no! I picked him to win the Super Bowl. I will not come off that.
Yeah.
Speaking of LA, they just agreed with Aaron Donald to a $135 million contract over 7 years, $87 million guaranteed.
Speaking of Super Bowl contenders,
yes.
You keep your best defensive player intact for the next 6 years.
Defensive player of the year every year. He's in contention, first or second.
Yeah, you're looking really good.
It's no doubt. Aaron Donald is one of the most stout, strong, outstanding defensive players, minds, bodies we've had in the NFL ever.
And speaking of humble individuals, very, extremely humble Donald is.
Another guy deserving to get paid.
I've got a question for you. Who's better, Aaron Darnold or Khalil Mack? Because Khalil Mack just got fined a couple weeks ago, 1.3, 1.4?
1.2.
Okay, for not signing or not playing
for not
in
showing
preseason.
up. Right.
And he could put the Raiders are talking about trading him. I saw on the ESPN the other day. So
they were saying the Seahawks might be a good fit for Khalil
what
Mack.
about LA?
Well, they seem to be writing checks to everybody, and if they want another,
they've got the space.
If they want another great linebacker, I don't see why they wouldn't at least pick up the phone.
I will say this before you answer my question. I want to get this out there. We don't talk about the NFL much, so the two highest paid people on their payroll as of right now is one being Todd Gurley, two being now Aaron Donald. So they've
their
got the
best
space.
player on offense and their best player on defense. They went and paid.
Just how it
That's
should
how
be.
you keep a team together.
Yeah.
That being said, Aaron Donald or Khalil Mack, different positions, hard to compare. Khalil Mack is outstanding. He gets a lot of sacks, but no one can dominate an entire offensive line like Aaron Donald.
Okay.
They're double and triple teaming him every snap.
Every play.
Yeah.
You have a center and both of your guards for Aaron Donald.
So in fantasy, you're taking Aaron Darnold over Khalil Mack.
Oh, no, I'm taking Khalil Mack. He puts up better stats. He gets more sacks.
Okay.
More sacks, fantasy-wise, yeah.
Fantasy-wise, yeah.
Okay.
But what you don't see is the immeasurables that
Right.
Aaron Donald's getting triple-teamed every play. Aaron Donald is filling 4 holes so that running back has to go out to the side so Khalil Mack can tackle him. Or one of his linebackers can go out and get him. Aaron Donald is the most physically dominant player, him and J.J. Watt, I think.
Yes.
On the defensive side of the football for our generation.
They do the dirty work.
Yeah.
That you don't see on the stat sheet. You're exactly right. I would also agree that for fantasy football, get Khalil Mack. But if you're gonna compare the two, there's no comparison, I think, in the NFL. Then maybe J.J. Watt, maybe. I do think.
But once again, J.J. Watt plays on the outside, so he doesn't get that double and triple team every play.
Right.
Like
Donald
does.
It's very hard to compare.
And Donald still puts up the stats.
Oakland needs to take a page out of LA's book and sign that man to a contract.
That's the thing I read this there too. It's not the GM. I can't remember his name. I keep hearing reports saying it's John Gruden.
Khalil Mack, we saw them get rid of Marquette King. We saw them get rid of Michael Crabtree. We saw them get rid of players with attitudes. And I think Khalil Mack is another one that falls into that category. And I think John Gruden doesn't want to pay him because he doesn't want him on the team. He doesn't want that on his team. And I think that's a mistake.
Me and you called that early this year, though.
Yep.
John Gruden's going to throw this all the way back to the 90s.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Brad Johnson.
Here's the thing is, it could
If you don't know how to shut your mouth and come from prison to come play for my team, I don't want you.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. So, let's just go ahead and leave it for what it is. He'll more than likely be traded before the season starts. Otherwise, he's just going to keep losing money. Which, I mean, if he doesn't want to show up, he doesn't want to show up. But grats to Aaron Donald. For getting paid. The most expensive contract in the NFL for a defensive player.
Ever.
Well deserved. I don't know. I think the Albert Hainsworth deal was worth more.
Albert Hainsworth was 2 years, $92 million, I believe.
This one's getting the most guaranteed money.
But
it wasn't guaranteed for Hainsworth. This one's $87 million guaranteed.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kirk Cousins. You've officially cemented that trend into existence.
Hainsworth was more per year, I think. But he didn't get any of it because he didn't even play past the first 4 games.
No, he was absolutely terrible. Anyway, let's just go ahead and segue into the MLB here. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. It's the last month of the regular season coming up here. The Cubs won 9 straight, and then they got destroyed by the New York Mets. I need your guys' thoughts.
9 straight, 8-2 in the last 10. I'll take it.
The only reason why they got thumped as hard as they did was because Joe Madden does what he's done all year, and what he's done his whole career as a manager, resting guys. Notice how that game we got thumped. We had Listell at third. That's all we need to know. And Almora in center. Almora, whatever. He had a great first half. That must have just
Slowed
been a
down.
fluke. Whatever. But no, like you said, Tyson 8-2 in our last 10 with beating A, Jake DeGrom, B, Noah Syndergaard, i.e. Thor, 2 of the best pitching dynamic duos, in my opinion, I think, in the entire National League. Yeah, I don't throw Scherzer and Strasburg in there because Strasburg can't stay off the DL.
Right.
So the 2 best pitchers as a dynamic duo in the National League, we beat them both with our top-tier players, Contreras, Schwarber, Bodie, now Murphy, who can hit the ball whether it's day or night. Although, did you know that David Murphy likes to hit the ball during the day because he says he can see it better?
I believe it.
I believe that. He strikes me as a weird cat.
My thing is I feel like I could be able to see it better at night.
Because it's white and you're looking
It's
against black instead of
artificial light, too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little easier to focus on.
It could be, but then some players have come out and said, not just baseball, some players from every sport have come out and said playing at night, those lights are hard on your eyes, and sometimes it plays with you a little bit.
For sure.
So
I can see that, too, but whatever. It don't matter what time of the day it is, honestly, for Daniel Murphy. He's still going to hit the ball.
Yeah, Murphy hits
Murphy's
dingers.
going to hit the ball.
Murphy hits dingers.
And maybe not necessarily dingers. Dingers as in he's not going to hit them out of the park. He's going to hit them over the center fielder's head, and he's going to get on second or third. If it was 2015 Daniel Murphy, pre-knee surgery, he'd have been on third. Maybe at home every time. But no, 8-2 in our last 10, beating 2 of the best pitchers in the National League. I'm not going to complain.
staying on top of the Central and staying on top of the NL.
We've got a
That's
4.5
what
game
matters.
lead now.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's a good segue. That's with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yep. Who are making a hot chart.
Yeah, no, that segues right into it. They're still hot, Tyson. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on St. Louis.
St. Louis is making a hell of a charge at not only the NL Central but the NL. They're coming up hot on all the. They're about to be first for the wild card race. They are winning like crazy still. They've got the most wins in August since the All-Star break. They have come out incredibly strong. The only reason they're not in first place is because the Cubs keep winning. The Cardinals are one of the hottest teams in baseball. They just can't catch up to the Cubs because the Cubs won't lose and give them a chance.
This is just a quick update. Joe Madden, as from BleacherReport.com, said that Chris Bryant will be returning to the lineup on Saturday.
Yep.
So there we go.
Very nice.
That's good. Well, is that good news for the Cubs? I feel like this could go either way.
I'm going to start first.
Go.
No, it is not. I see it one way. Hayward's going to be on the DL because he got hurt last night. I don't know if you saw that or not, or got an update about it, but Jason Hayward got hurt.
Yeah, that was official as of this morning.
That hurts bad because we lose our 72-time Gold Glove right fielder.
Mm-hmm.
So, back to Bryant. David Bodie's got to be in this lineup. David Bodie has earned a spot in this lineup. Where do you put David Bodie? With Hayward getting
at
hurt.
Third.
David Bodie at third.
Brian
right.
left.
Or I'd put Bryant
and
right.
Zoe and right.
So you're taking Schwarber completely out.
Well, I think you can alternate it. Bryant left, Zoe right, or Bryant right, Schwarber left.
I think you do it the opposite way. I think you put Bryant and right until Hayward gets back, if he can come back. I haven't looked at the extent of the injury or anything yet. I think you put Bryant and right for Hayward. You alternate Murphy and Zoe at second. You put Javi at short. You put Bodie at third, Schwarber in left. We need those bats.
As long as Addison Russell's out of the lineup, I don't care.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is in that report it said that Chris Bryant would be replacing Addison Russell in the lineup.
There we
so
go.
they're completely pulling him off the They're going to pull him off the
They'll pull
roster.
him back up for the 40-man.
Yeah, and
That's why I don't have a problem bringing Bryant back up because we're about to expand to the 40-man rosters anyway. So he's going to be on it regardless, whether it's Saturday or in a couple weeks.
Because Russell's on the 10-day, but they're probably going to push it to the 15 or the 30 now.
Right.
If they put it on the 30, they'll bring him back right at the playoff. If they do it now, they'll put him right back at playoffs. So they can put him on there as a pinch hitter, which Addison Russell, in my opinion, has no business being on that baseball diamond unless it's a pinch hit situation where we got a pitcher up. But Lester smacked us.
Not even. I'd still want Listella pinch
Well,
hitting.
you have to forget about
or
Listella
Bodie
every time.
pinch hitting, or whoever's sitting out. Ian Happ pinch hitting.
I forget about Happ. Man, okay, so all right, fair enough. Russell, just stay over there.
Yeah, but
Sit on the bench in case
the
somebody
Cubs
gets
are
hurt.
loaded enough to where they shouldn't even.
Deep.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that. But while we were talking about the Cardinals, I need to ask one question. Josh Donaldson, third baseman of the Toronto Blue Jays, has been in trade rumors with St. Louis. If that trade were to go through, what does that mean for the Cardinals? How good does he make this team?
I want to say something real quick, though. The Cardinals did pull the interim tag off of Mike Schultz, so now he is their manager. He is going to be with them probably from now for a while. Good for him because he's completely turned his team around. Go ahead.
I would say it's too late in the season for it to make that much of an impact. Josh Donaldson is a great player, outfielder, and they have a lot of good outfielders.
Harrison Bader.
That's my one thing.
Tyler O'Neill.
You're adding depth to the only position they've really got depth at.
Yeah.
Well, he plays third base. So, I mean, you could,
Okay.
I forget. I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank. Cardinals third baseman.
It's either Carpenter or Wong, depending on who's in
Thank
there.
you. Yeah.
But I would say it's too late for it to make a difference, but then again, we got Murphy 2 weeks ago. So,
Right.
and I would have said
And
it's too late
he's
to make a
had-
difference then, but he's turned the team around as well because we were 5-5, 6-4 in our last 10 for the last couple of weeks. But now we're 8-2, 9-1, whatever. So it's not too late to make a difference. I don't think it'll help them close the gap against the Cubs. I think the Cubs are too hot right now too, but I think it pushes them over the line. It helps them cement a wild card spot.
They get Donaldson, look out, because they are a wild card team at that point. They're a wild card team right now.
Right.
They're a wild card team with that pitching staff they have because nobody can hit off of them. They shut the Pirates out again last night. So if they get Donaldson, another hitter, another batter, I think he's batting 242, 240 on the year, I want to say. But he stays right there every season. So if they add him, now that they would have Josh Donaldson, they would have Carpenter, they would have Colton Wong, they would have Harrison Bader, Tyler O'Neill, Paul DeYoung. I mean,
Ozuna,
yeah.
Marcell Ozuna. You can, Tyson, me and you are now, as the Cardinals are getting better and winning games, we start hearing about them more so we can rattle off all the players. I mean, I could anyway, but I mean, because I watch the Cardinals to see how bad they're good they're going to be. And right now, the game that I watched last night, a little bit of it, I watched the 3rd through the 5th. They can beat the Brewers, or they could probably beat either the Phillies or the Braves, whoever falls out of that in the wild card. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting, which segues into my last point here. We need to talk about the New York Yankees. They've got guys on the DL right now. When they come back 100% healthy, this team's already going to be scary. Then they did something yesterday night. They went out and traded for the San Francisco Giants, Andrew McCutchen. How much? Or let me phrase it like this: how good can this Yankees team be after the wild card, assuming that they do win?
I'll tell you why they went out and got McCutchen was because with that wrist issue that Aaron Judge is having now, with that broken wrist or fractured wrist, I'll say, they went out and got McCutchen because McCutchen is an outfielder just like Judge. He can play anywhere in the outfield with Giancarlo. So they got McCutchen because he can swing the bat. Now he can't swing the bat near as hard, and he can't hit balls 500 feet like Judge can. But they got him because they needed a replacement just in case Judge can't swing that bat. So now they got another bat, another outfielder. But if that doesn't happen, and Judge is going to come out like I think he's going to when he's 100%, which will be right before the playoffs, they're still going to have this wild card spot secured. They're playing good ball. But they've got Aaron Judge, they've got Greg Bird, they've got Sanchez on the DL, they've got Gleyber Torres is on the DL with a knee inflammation, something or another. So they've got a lot of guys on the DL. When they come back, they're going to be within, or they'll definitely be leading the wild card race. There's no question about that.
You think they'll pass the A's in the wild card race?
I think they can, for the fact that they have all their team back and they have the pitching to do so.
I think it depends on when they all come back.
Right.
If they come back 2 weeks before the postseason, no, that ain't going to happen. But I told Gavin this all fair. I'm going to end it with my conversation with this, Tyson. I wanted to see the Yankees and the A's in the wild card play in, honestly.
Yeah, I think Andrew McCutchen is a guy that immediately makes an impact for the Yanks. He bats 300 or better almost every year. Like Cale said, he doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but he's there. He'll always be on base. He'll always steal bases. He is a pain in any defense's side. He hits well. He plays defense well. He can play anywhere in the outfield. So even if Judge and Giancarlo are healthy and there's still one more spot he can fill in. He's a good player. I'm surprised that San Francisco got rid of him this quickly. They've only had him for 2 years now. 1 year. So it hasn't even been that long, but I think this makes an immediate impact for New York. Definitely gives them a higher chance of winning that wild card game against the A's.
For sure. I'm still looking forward to the A's pressuring the Astros for first place in the AL West. So that is still on the table, although like me and Cale talked about off air, the Astros haven't lost since Altuve came off the DL.
They've won 9 straight.
There you go. 9 games straight. So it's not looking good for Oakland, but hopefully they can keep up with them. I'm rooting for them. So that's how we're going to end it today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you go ahead and leave us a like, comment, rating, whatever you want to do down there in the box below. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button and click the bell icon to the right so you don't miss a beat. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social media at sports_twin on Twitter. And with that said, my name is Gavin Campbell. That was Tyson Snyder, Cale Fleming. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Based upon the view, you can't have too much trouble, so why can't we do it? Everybody's doing it. Let's start the fireworks, stand back and enjoy it. Oh, bomb to